Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Steve. This is my wife, Lindsay, and we are going to be reacting to the differences between living in the U.S. versus living in the U.K. Now, do you have any idea what some of the things they may talk about here are?
I feel like I know one.
What?
The outlets are different.
Oh, and you've learned that through me.
Well, sort of. I already knew that.
Because of when we traveled overseas, a lot of, not just in the UK, but
you had to take an adapter.
Right. Everywhere you go has different outlets in the US for the most part. But
other than that, that's about all I know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think I'm going to know quite a bit more about what the differences are because I've been on this journey for a lot longer than you have. But still, I have a long way to go to really understand all the differences and the nuances of living in the U.S. versus the UK. But this is the type of topic I think we both enjoy, just learning about the cultural differences and the differences in housing and all sorts of stuff, which is another topic that you really haven't learned anything about yet, which we're going to explore soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this type of topic is the type of thing we both find pretty fun and interesting. So should be interesting, guys. But you got anything you want to say before we get started? All right, guys, let's go ahead and check out the differences between living in the U.S. versus living in the UK.
Hello. Hi, I'm Lauren from the UK.
Hi, I'm Callie from the USA.
We have a lot of fences.
Not everyone in
gates.
the States has a fence.
You guys have attic, right?
Sometimes. Not everyone, but some people do. They have the like pull down thing with the ladder.
Garage. Some houses just don't have them.
Really?
Yeah.
What if when the weather is bad?
Your car just gets wet or
People in the States, you almost always have a garage.
No, you definitely don't always have a garage.
I'm thinking about that, like, think about around here. Yeah, like, think
like none of the houses on our street have a garage.
Right, like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, I would say probably, if I had to estimate, see if you think this is correct, I would say maybe 30% of the houses have garages.
Yeah, usually it's newer build.
I think it's actually more about subdivisions, really, usually. I mean, well, I will say if you've got it does tend to be newer builds. But a lot of houses around here were built in the 40s or 30s, and so granted,
it weren't as popular
in the UK. That would be considered new.
Well, yeah,
because in the UK the houses are, I mean, not new, but you know what I'm saying. The houses are so much older. Everything, you know, the castles and everything are just, you know, it's insane. But
yeah, I don't agree with her. We don't always have a garage.
No,
most of the time you don't actually.
Yeah, I'd say most times you don't have a garage.
Some people have 2 or 3 car garages.
I know
that is true.
Some people will also turn that into a fun space. Sometimes my family, they have a nice garage, like a 2-car garage. They do park their car in there in the winter, but they also have room for like dartboard and a little bar. They
mean, that does happen, but
so we can go out there and party a bit.
Do you guys have conservatory? Conservatory.
What is that? It sounds like, is that like a greenhouse thing?
It's like a greenhouse, but it's in your house.
Oh, I love those.
Like a, what do we call it?
Like a solarium.
Sunroom.
A solarium, sunroom.
Solarium?
Yeah. Like
never heard of that. I would call that a sunroom.
Oh, yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, like, I don't think those are very popular here.
Not super popular.
I think that
maybe if you're really wealthy.
Yeah, it's not something you see on a regular basis. I do believe, for some reason in my head, I picture UK houses more likely to have those. And I don't know why that is. Let me know in the comments, guys. Do you guys tend to have those, what she called a conservatory? We would call it a sunroom or whatever you said.
Although I feel like sunroom here is much smaller. I feel like a conservatory would be big. Maybe not. I wonder if that's the same as a conservatory, though.
Okay.
So it's like usually attached to the living room.
Oh, so a sunroom.
It's like a greenhouse.
Yeah.
But usually people will use it as a place to just kind of sit.
That's on people's houses?
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, I like that.
Is that common?
So this is super common actually.
Whoa! Yeah. Don't know anyone in the States that has this. I feel like if you had this in the States, I would think you're super fancy.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of get that too.
Use it as like a place to sit and gather. It's so cold in the UK. This actually is like warm.
Okay.
So in the summer people will sit, and it's also like connected to the garden. So it would also maybe be the way to the garden.
That's an interesting thing to bring up, and I think you probably know this, that they call what we would just call our yard.
Backyard, the garden.
Yeah, which is interesting. And I guess that maybe they do more planting of flowers and stuff like that.
When you plant your vegetables and stuff what do you call that spot?
That's true. So like if your garden is what we would call the yard, just like grass and maybe have some bushes or whatever.
What do you call the place where you put your vegetables and fruit?
Right, because we would call that
A
the garden.
garden.
So that's interesting. Yeah, let us know in the comments, guys. What would you just call that also a garden? Is this just the same word used for two different meanings?
I don't know.
But what was the other? Why did I pause it? I got off topic.
I thought you were talking about.
No, that's what I was going to say. It now makes sense why that might be a little bit more popular, what we would call sunroom in the UK, because they may have it may be a little cooler through more of throughout the year more often than it is here on average, and so it's a great place to grow some plants year round and stuff like that.
That's like, we definitely have to do that if we build a house.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
most houses.
Just toss a house.
So in the UK, the average house size is 900 square feet.
I'm trying to envision like how big that would be.
Not
That's
huge,
pretty
but
small.
it's not, tiny.
In the US, the average is 1,600 square feet.
Wow.
Larger.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I think the average in the U.S. is actually larger.
Probably.
I actually remember seeing this on another video or something that the average was closer to like 2,000.
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to fact check.
You gonna fact checked?
Yeah.
But I think the 900 square feet is about right. I remember it was like 800 and some or 900. It's roughly around that for the UK.
Single family homes built in the US in 2022, the median square footage was well over 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I thought it probably was about that.
That is pretty
1,600. I'm like thinking, yeah.
And in 1949, it was around 909 square feet.
Interesting. So it sounds like the U.S. just kept on getting bigger, and the UK houses stayed the same size. Maybe because the UK is a smaller landmass.
Yeah, I think that's
There's more people per square mile, and so they build the houses smaller.
Yeah.
I kind of already knew that a little bit, but that's interesting. All right.
1.5 times, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I think, like you said before, we just have so much land. Typical to have larger houses in the States.
And I feel like if you envision Texas and all of that land and
Yeah.
those gigantic houses, which are so cheap,
Yeah.
in my opinion, wow, yeah.
I think the Texas houses are just like another level.
From before, like the semi-detached and the terrace houses would have a living room, a kitchen, 2 or 3 bedrooms, and a bathroom, and maybe a downstairs toilet. I'm
Okay.
thinking back to my university house, yeah. And then like the detached houses may have 3 or 4 bedrooms, maybe like 1 or 2 bathrooms, obviously like a larger living room and kitchen. So I don't even know how many rooms that is.
Yeah.
A lot.
I think it's a little bit similar in the States, maybe 3 or 4 bedrooms even, large living room. Sometimes we have a kitchen in a separate dining room. Do you have that in the UK sometimes?
Yeah, it just depends on the size of the house, honestly.
It varies probably a lot.
Yeah.
Same in the States, but I would say it's quite common to have a separate kitchen and a dining room, some kind of utility room.
And newer houses, definitely.
where you do your laundry, and then maybe 2 bathrooms,
2
I would
bathrooms,
say is common. Nowadays, most people have at least 2. Yeah. Some places might still have 1. I think 2 is quite common. Yeah.
Well, I think what she's talking about is more newer houses.
Yeah,
like the
newer houses.
people are building.
Subdivisions.
Yeah, more
stuff like that.
recently. Older homes, older for the US.
Yeah.
Like our house is 1 bathroom.
Yeah, it makes sense because that just wasn't done back then, and now everybody just creates these or builds these huge houses that are just over the top. I mean, you'll see people with 4 or 5 bedrooms that they don't even have kids.
Yeah, have you ever seen, I don't know what you call it, but it's almost like a heat map, I think, of the average space that people use in their homes.
Oh, yeah.
Like the foot traffic pathways that they use.
Right.
And it's like they have these huge houses and they only use like a little tiny
Right.
space regularly.
Right.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it really is. I personally, and I know Lindsay's on the same page with me, and that is that we don't like the idea of having more of a house than we need. Like, I don't
I mean,
want a
big
huge
homes
house.
are beautiful.
Right.
And
To look at.
yeah, and to visit,
Right.
like, you know, the castles and stuff.
Absolutely.
But it's so stressful to me thinking of maintaining that space
Yes.
and keeping it clean, and just seems.
Yeah, for me, it's like you need a bedroom. You need a bedroom for each of your kids if possible. Now, if you started having like 4 kids or plus,
Yeah,
then
if you
you
have a
probably
really
wouldn't
big
have
family.
multiple bedrooms. But up to 3 kids, I think it'd be cool to have a bedroom for each.
Yeah.
And then you have like an office area. You have your books, your computer, stuff like that, and then the kitchen, living room area. I mean, like I think we, at least in America, have gotten to the point that like not we, but in general, we just build too big for what we need. And it's just a waste, honestly, in a lot of cases.
It's about appearances.
It is
in a
about
lot of
appearances.
cases.
People are trying to keep up with the Joneses and stuff like that, which
And I get it to some degree.
I
But
don't.
I do to some degree. I mean, it's nice. You feel accomplished, you know.
Yeah, I
than
mean, I
all
guess
the
it's-
houses. But to me, it's just not very proud.
I would rather have small and nice than large and not nice. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah, like really good quality
over
materials.
quantity.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, maybe one at least with 1.5 baths.
Yeah.
We say like one.
Okay.
Yeah, one with the bathtub, one where it's just like the toilet.
We call it a downstairs toilet. In the UK, we do not have AC. It
Never?
does not get hot enough, like especially not where I live up in the north. It is not hot. I know when
That'd
we had
be
the
nice.
heat wave, I was dying.
Yeah.
And I actually was in an attic room back then in my student
Boiling up
days.
there,
I was boiling
yeah.
to death, and I
Oh
had a
my
tiny
gosh.
window. But usually we will just open the window to get a breeze.
What if there's no breeze?
Yeah, if there's no breeze, we have fans, just like the standing kind of fan, and that's it. We just melt,
Oh my
I guess.
God.
Just melt.
How long would that last if you have like some heat
The
wave in
heat wave
summer?
can be like 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay.
And growing up, there was never a heat wave really. It's just like over the past few years.
Is it common at all in Europe, do you know? I went to like Sweden, in Norway, and Finland, and I was shocked by that too, because we went in the middle of summer and we were hot.
Yeah.
Even though it's not known for having hot weather, even in public places sometimes, like public transportation, on the subway, we had all of our luggage and we were just like sweating.
They don't have it on the London Underground. Usually we just open the kind of like window that connects the carts, and then the breeze from the train kind of like is what cools people down. It just doesn't really exist.
It's really
Now,
interesting.
now I will say this.
It's a major difference.
I know that they definitely get some heat in at least southern England. I mean, because people have talked about that in the comments on some of my weather videos, and like it can get hot. People talk about they're like, I mean, it's just.
It's interesting that with more modern convenience now, people don't upgrade their homes to have like a mini split or
Well, I mean,
something.
I thought about that too, but I think in a lot of cases, at least through maybe not if you're in the very far south of England, but I think for a lot of the UK, even northern England, say definitely probably Scotland and so forth. I think they just when it does get hot is probably not as long as we have it, and they just like, well, we'll just put up with it and deal with it for a while.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Or-
I can't stand sleeping when it's
No,
hot.
that's the thing.
I
It's
can't
like
sleep if it's too hot.
I can deal with heat during the day, but like, man, not not at night, man. I need some cool air. But it's just one of those things you get used to either way, But yeah,
Really?
Yeah, so I think like European people just kind of try
Just not
to
a
deal with the
thing.
heat if it is hot.
In the US, I think a lot of people would have an AC. A lot of times it'll just have the unit that you put in the window kind of thing. We also use fans. Every household is different, but I'm sure even in the like more southern states, it's even more common. We also have the ceiling fans.
Yeah, those things freak me out. I'm like, they're gonna
scary
fall
too.
on my head and crush me.
Yeah, those are kind of scary, but they do help like keep the house ventilated, so that's nice.
I do believe that most houses do have ceiling fans here.
We'll have the ceiling fans, sometimes some standing fans, and then also the AC. Got the bases covered.
Must be nice.
Yeah, right.
The washing machine in the UK, yeah, it usually looks like the one on the right. Yeah, they're not usually together. If we even do have a dryer, I think it's not too common to have a dryer in the UK. I may just be talking from personal experience, but
I've
we
heard
don't
that.
have a dryer at home, like a tumble, we call it a tumble dryer.
Okay.
Mainly for like environmental reasons, and we don't use it. We just hang up our washing on the clothing, like the washing line.
See, that's what I want to do, but here usually it's hard to have space to do it.
Well, the reason they do it because they don't have as much space because they have their hanging line in like the kitchen or whatever where the washing machine is.
But the water is going to get all over the floor.
No,
I don't think that's true. I think they hang outside.
I mean, probably if they have the room, but a lot of people, like, say they're in flats, apartments, they have or maybe small, like what do they call them? What do they call it? Row houses? At least what's called. Or I can't think what you call them, but like our townhouses, basically.
Yeah.
And if they don't have a big enough yard or a garden for a line, then they put it. Then it's like in the kitchen because a lot of UK houses that are smaller will, and the average size was 900 square feet, right? So they'll put the washing machine will be in the kitchen, like under the counter or something.
Okay.
I've seen that at least.
But my question is for big families,
Yeah.
where are you putting all your clothing to dry it?
I mean,
It's not getting everything wet.
I'm thinking nowadays, if it's a bigger family, a lot of them probably do have dryers. But I think, it depends on how small the house is and, where you're located and stuff, I
I
think.
love the idea of not putting clothes in the dryer because it makes them staticky. So I'd rather hang them, but
I mean,
I
I'm
just
okay
can't
either way.
think
I
of
don't
the
really.
logistics to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we have like one of those kind of looks like a spider's web,
Yes.
like this
Okay.
kind of shape, and then we just hang it and it spins in the breeze.
Like out in your garden
Yeah.
or something? Okay.
Because the tumble dryers, they're expensive in the UK
Yeah.
as well. My uni house had a 2-in-1, but the dryer was not good.
Yeah,
at
those
all,
aren't
so I
very
just didn't
good.
use
2
it.
in 1.
Okay. Do you ever hang your stuff inside?
Okay, I would use like a clothing like rack, like a clothes horse. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I've
Obviously,
seen.
if it rains a lot.
Yeah.
They're good.
It's like a high tech, like
It doesn't spin by itself. It's
Yeah.
just like in the wind.
Yeah.
It's good. These dryers, yeah, I'm kind of jealous.
I do kind of love the dryers. I know they're bad for the environment, like you said, but there's something about putting your blankets or your sweaters and your socks in the dryer and it's so cozy in the winter time. It's very common in the US. Most people have a washer and a dryer.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Yeah. I don't have the patience maybe to hang everything
Yeah,
up
it is
to-
quite. If it suddenly starts to rain, which
Yeah.
it loves to do in the UK,
that'd be
you have to
annoying.
run
At a
outside
moment's
and then
notice.
collect
Everything
everything.
down.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Ah.
So the plug sockets in the UK are the 3-pronged. Is it called a prong? I don't know. A
Yeah,
3-pronged socket. Usually like 230 volts.
Okay.
I am pretty sure majority, if not all of them, have a switch, like to actually turn on the plug.
That's cool.
Yeah, so they're
I
not
like
just
that.
like open.
Yeah.
They have like
I
an
do
actual
like that.
switch.
Every outlet.
I'm like thinking, and I'm pretty sure all of them did.
That's so convenient. I love that. Yeah, we have a 3-prong also, but you can tell it's a different kind. I've never seen anybody with the switch.
And
That's
also, is it always like 2 outlets in one?
yeah.
Pretty much
I
always.
don't think I've ever seen
Pretty much.
just a single one like that. It's always the double.
And it's always vertical?
Yeah.
We have like either one, or if we have 2, they're usually side by side like this, rather than like this.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes
Most
ours
people
are
use
sideways.
extension cables.
Well, that's just. Yeah, I mean.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a
Not
lot
usually.
of differences like in the house.
I know. A lot of things I didn't think about. I guess the switch one was kind of. I really like that.
Yeah, it's good actually being able to just like switch it on and off from the
Yeah,
wall.
because I feel like in the States we just keep, a lot of people just keep the stuff
Or have
plugged
to
in
unplug it
constantly,
and-
right? So
Yeah.
I kind of like that you can just like switch
When you go
it
on
off.
vacation.
That's quite nice.
The aircon, I think even if we had it like in my house in the UK, we would never use it because we just have like so many windows and doors, and
love
usually
that.
it's fine. And well, right now in the UK, I live like in the Midlands, and it does not get hot. Yeah, maybe during that heat wave, it would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But I mean, I dealt with it and I survived.
Yeah.
So today we talked about differences in UK and US houses.
Yeah, I would say that if we didn't have to deal with heat that long of the
Yeah.
year, I could definitely
Yeah,
deal
very
without
true.
it. But But like, I mean,
Because I prefer fresh air and just
absolutely.
having the windows. And
But it gets hot.
here is so humid. Yeah.
I mean,
The
it
humidity
gets.
is the worst part.
But the crazy thing about here is it gets so frigid cold in the peak of winter, and then it gets so humid and hot in the sun. It's such a drastic
I
change
feel like
within the
summer
seasons.
is the longest season here.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
like we're talking about like multiple, like you can have weeks of
Yeah.
like basically 100-degree weather every day, getting down to like 95 at night and like humid.
Yeah, it's miserable.
It's impossible to sleep when it's like that at night. It's just you're so sticky and so no, that's horrible. Like so, I can understand that for areas, especially in the UK, where it doesn't get hot that
Yeah.
long. Like if you had a heat wave for like 2 weeks, like you can deal with that. If the rest of the year is good. But I do wonder about the areas where it's not like that. The areas that they do get, it's pretty warm for a month or 2 months of the year or something like that. Like where it's like 80 degrees at night, maybe. Although I don't even know if it actually does tend to stay at 80 plus degrees at night in the UK. Anywhere, I don't know. Let us know in the comments, guys. But I will say that here, it's like. I mean, we like to basically keep it on the same temperature year round, winter and summer. We like it to be.
like to, but in the summer we can't usually keep.
No, not that cold. But I like it to be in the
prefer
60s.
cooler.
Yeah, in the 60s inside.
But in the summer we don't keep it.
Yeah, but like in the winter, we will, like a lot of people, they'll like be blazing that heat, and I can't stand it. Like
No, I'd rather be cold.
Yeah, me too. Like we keep our heat, our thermostat at like what is it, like 63 probably down there now?
Yeah, especially at night.
Yeah, at night we keep it on 62, 63. Like I don't want it any warmer than that. But yeah, this is interesting.
One thing I do wonder is in newer housing developments and stuff in the UK, do you guys have HVAC or air conditioning in those?
Well, I've done a little bit of I've done like a video or two on that, on like looking at a newer house in the UK, and I think based off the comments, it seems like sometimes you'll get something like the split
Mini
system,
splits, yeah.
and then but a lot of people, they still don't build the air conditioner in new houses. A lot of times it seems like.
Just for me, like, well, I guess if it's not humid there, you wouldn't have this problem. But
Well,
here,
it gets humid there.
is it?
Yeah, like it
Well, then
does get
wouldn't
humid
you
there.
have mold problems and mold issues? That's my main concern. Like when you don't have any ventilation to really keep it cooler.
One of the things about about a lot of, especially their older houses, though, is they tend to be more brick and stone
Breathable.
versus our wood. So our wood is more likely to have mold problems, I believe.
Yeah, but I meant in the new one.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know in the comments, guys. That's something we need to look into. We'd also like you to share any videos or ideas you have about stuff we could check out, about housing in general. Like I really have a long way to go to really understand how housing is being built today in the UK. Are they using more wood and synthetic materials, or is it generally still like brick and stone and whatnot? Because here they use a lot of wood and synthetic materials.
Yeah.
Good or bad, that's what they do, and probably because it's easier to access wood for cheaper here than it probably is in the UK, where there's a lot more trees here. We all do what we're used to,
Yeah.
and even when we move, we grow up, whatever, we continue doing what we've been used to. So if you were used to not having air conditioning as a child, it's very unlikely you're going to push for air conditioning unless it just so happens to be in your house.
Right.
And it's opposite for if you grew up with air conditioning. It's very hard, especially in a humid area, to like
You get comfortable with
yeah,
it.
you do. You get used to what you're used to. Same with drying clothes. Like my grandma, she dried her clothes
On the line. Yeah.
her entire life.
I feel like that was pretty standard.
It was.
But now it's just like it's not,
Yeah.
they don't make space for it and there's not the infrastructure, so to speak.
I like it. I like the idea of
the
it,
idea.
but it is convenient to have a dryer because I mean, like if you want to dry some blankets real
But I
quick.
would like to have the option.
Yeah, I like the option too. I do like the option because there's something about clothes that have dried in the sun. They smell fresh. It's just
And it gets the stains out, and it's just like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I like it.
yeah. That's true. All right, guys, you got anything you want to say before we go? All right. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow us on our journey to discover our British and Irish ancestry. Till next time, guys. Peace.
Bye.